fine, Renee. I just want to let everybody know. I completely forgot to do that. And so I need to put my press record reminder on every week. And then also thank you so much for the kind words. I love working with all of you guys. But it's not about me, it's about you. So what I do want to say is name, occupation, and what area you want to be influential in. And so thank you so much for your kind words. I love working with you, but we could just go straight into what you guys are looking for. Tom, what are you looking for?
What am I looking for? Well, I'm so blessed as well to be a part of this and to see so many familiar faces. So Tom Lundell, my profession is I help people understand the value of God's money, gold and silver. I've been doing that passionately now for a little over 2 years. And but other areas of life that I'd like to see influence grow and it would be my family. I have 5 kids and various stages of life. And I want to be not only a mentor, but I want to be a better influence for them and lead them better on a daily basis. Even as some have flown the coop already, they're still, I just think about my relationship with my own dad, and he's that for me, and I want to be that for them. I would say another area would be within my small group, that if I can, influence all of us as in that group to be, men and women that are living out faith every day. And
Progress.
And then I would also add to that, I would say even within my network groups, that would be my 4th area that I would like to be an influence there as well. And I will pick, I will pick Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hi there. That's totally unexpected. I'm really happy to be in this group. And I'm Laura Baisa. I'm the
Laura, sorry to interrupt you. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you for your patience with me. I'm going to be putting in the chat for those of you who jumped on what we're talking about real quick. And when Laura's done, she's going to pick the next person who's to go. All right. Thanks, Laura. Go ahead.
Sure. I'm Laura Baisa, and I'm the COO of Dental Arts Hawaii. It's we're specializing in sleep dentistry, and that's something that we found a passion in just recently, because we're on the front lines of really seeing patients who have airway obstruction, and we've been doing this all along. And only now, well, I shouldn't say only now, but just recently we said, we can really help a lot of people fitting sleep appliances for those that have sleep apnea. And I'm sure all of you know what sleep apnea is. They have snoring issues, and sometimes they don't have restful sleep. So we can help patients like that. And even before the PCP, when they do their annual physicals, we can catch that. So we're really blessed to be in that position of helping others and to find a different way for them to have restful sleep through sleep appliances. So that's where we're at right now in our 37 years of business. And what I want to take away with this group is to be really comfortable in leading different personalities. In the past, I've had a lot of yes people. And if there's other people like the eyes and all of that, sometimes I can't handle that. I don't know. I said, so I need to learn how to develop that skill and really see what my true potential is. I think just being uncomfortable, like right now, is a good start, and it has been for the past 1.5 years. And I think this is going to be a really good one. I'm going to discover things that I don't necessarily do, and I think it's a good thing, though. It's a good thing.
Great. Who are you going to pick?
Heidi. Hi, Heidi.
Hello. Apologies for being a little late. So my name is Heidi Pliska. I am the COO at Arcadia Retirement Community. So I'm very honored to work with our kupuna and really be there to lead the team that helps take care of, not only just take care of our kupuna, but also provide the services and support that they need throughout their lives. So what I hope to get from this 5-week course, similar to Laura, is just really improving my communication with others, especially those that are not like me, but also I have a leadership team of 16 people, and they really are charged to keep the building going and keeping their teams informed and communicating at a higher level as well. So being able to take some of the things that I'm learning and pass it on to them so that they can also connect with their teams.
All right, let me help you out by telling you who has not gone yet.
Okay, great.
For everybody who's jumped on recently. So there's Debbie, Signe, Robert, Mary Lou, Nam, and then I believe Stephen is driving and Carol's driving, and Daryl is getting out of a meeting or something. I saw a text come through. So that's why their screens are off for now. It will be turned on shortly. So those are the people still yet to go.
Okay, I picked Debbie.
Hi, everybody. Debbie Thompson. I'm very happy to be here. I regret that I don't know all of you, but I'm sure I will get to know all of you very well. It seems like you all know each other. I am a health and wellness coach, and I help people heal when they just about given up. And that's what I do. And so what I'd like to get from this workshop is using language to help encourage my potential clients to do something about their health sooner than later. And of course, lead my team effectively and through changes. I used to be in the corporate world before, and I know that sometimes, people are not willing to change because probably how we talk to them and how we communicate. And so I'd like to learn how to do that a lot better. Thank you.
Great. Who are you going to pick?
Okay, I will pick Signe.
Thank you. Okay, I'm Signe Godfrey, and I'm retired in 2015. I was in business for about 30 years, and I used to a company called Olston, and what we did was employment. So, but since I retired, I was also, while I was working on a lot of nonprofits, and I still am on nonprofits. Actually, I even became the chair of the Republican Party, which I quit after 4 months. Anyway, I'm still on, I do mediation. I'm a mediator, and I'm on several nonprofits. And nonprofits, as you all know, if you're on the board, you have to raise money. And so that's the reason I'm here, to raise money better. And the bigger issue for me is I don't have a lot of contacts like I used to have while I was working. So maybe I'm hoping that this will help me fundraise better, bring bigger money in.
Right.
So, yeah.
Good. Okay,
Okay.
good. So who's next? Signe?
I'll choose Nam.
Hello, I am Nam. I do red light therapy and wellness, same as actually work with Debbie. She's been very instrumental. I think for me, this class or this program, I need to be taken more seriously because I tend to, I joke around a lot, and that's kind of like just my personality my whole life. So I'm trying to change my, essentially I'm still gonna be the same person, but I think especially in uncomfortable situations or whatever, I want to learn how to be able to speak in a manner that I'll be able to really communicate exactly what it is I'm trying to get across to people, or if there is something important to me that I can communicate it well. So yeah, that's my main thing. And everyone always says I can sell milk to a cow, but it's not really about the sales part. It's again just the building the relationship part for me. So I'm not sure. Can everybody who did not go raise your hand so I can pick somebody? Mary
Robert,
Lou,
yeah, there
you're
you go.
next.
Thanks, thanks so much. Yeah, I'm Mary Lou and I work at Neil Blaisdell Center. I'm a secretary and I find myself being taken advantage of a lot. I do things that I don't necessarily want to do. And after reading chapter 1, I realized that people are using influence on me. So I want to learn how to use jujitsu and judo to deflect that through Layla's tactics. And who didn't go?
Robert, and then we have
Robert. Okay,
three
Robert,
still
go
not on
ahead.
video. Mhm.
Okay, aloha, Robert Baisa. I'm a dentist, married to my beautiful wife, Laura. Tomorrow makes 37.
Wow, congratulations.
Dinner going on tomorrow. I'm coming in basically to improve my language. My it sometimes it's too curt that it's not really building a relationship, and using this influence, looking forward to this 5 weeks.
What do you do, Robert? You
Oh, I
did say what you did was be the husband of Laura, but what else do you do?
Sorry, she was talking about, we do, sleep medicine, or
Great.
sleep appliances, a dentist, as well as TMJ, address people's concerns for pain.
Good. Thank you. Who are you going to pick? There's Stephen.
Oh,
I'm gonna
hi,
help you
Stephen.
out. There's Stephen.
Didn't have to pick. I'm the last one right now. Hi, my name's Steven. I am a civil engineer and land use planner at G70. That's a great question. I had all this time to think about it. Influence. I want to get better at culling the herd or the rest of my partners, to be able to, I guess, come to a decision. Doesn't necessarily have to be consensus, but so that we can take action on things.
Okay, good. Now, let me just ask real quick, is Carol able, I know you're driving, are you able to get on at all? Or Daryl, just so you could do a quick thing? I don't know what you guys are doing. If not, we're gonna move on. Okay, so, Carol, great.
I think that I just got home. Sorry. Carol, hi, Sheeta. I work in community and customer engagement, I guess, for a company that connects healthcare and social care. So what it really is, a organization that is impactful because we're helping to bring nonprofits and healthcare together so that whole persons can get better. So I work with a lot of nonprofits. I also work with healthcare entities, managed care, to bring really unsilo the silos within our community so people can get help and get better. So why I'm in this class is I know what I do is meaningful, and that's why I chose this profession, because I really believe that it can have a huge impact on and transformational impact on our city. But it doesn't always translate into the way that I really present it. So sometimes I lose confidence in that, even though I know it's important. So I really want to be able to influence in a way that is true to myself, but also really believing in the work that I'm doing and the mission that I have. So I really want to make an impact and be more confident in being an influencer, because I know in my heart this is a really great initiative that's we're moving forward. So yeah, so that's why I'm here.
Good. Daryl, bringing us home.
All right, I'm Daryl. I am a family office services director. And something that I want to get from this next 5 weeks is being able to handle difficult conversations and difficult topics, or handle spontaneous conversations better. Yeah.
Good. Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody. For those of you who don't, everybody knows who I am. I'm going to move on. That was a bad joke. Yay, thank you. Somebody laughed. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna go real quick into our little framework here for today. Just so for those of you who have not taken a mastermind with me before, I have a little bit of a guideline on how we conduct ourselves. And so give me 1 second as I try to adjust this. Okay, so real quick. So the framework for our engagement tonight, okay? The first thing is that we want to be able to make sure that the cell phones are turned off. Now, I realize that some of us have to watch or be on the Zoom on their phones. So I'm going to ask that you put your phone on Do Not Disturb or some sort of way to stop notifications so that you can be completely dialed in for the 90 minutes that we're together. Because I really feel you're going to get so much out of it. And you all know we are in a world of constant distraction. So let's just let this time be about you growing. And so turn your cell phones off or make them unavailable for notifications for you. Okay. The next thing is we're going to start on time. We're going to end on time. So I'm going to ask that you be here. We're going to go right into it. I've got a lot planned for you in the next 5 weeks. I will be on about 5 minutes early just to answer any questions, or if some of you like to be prepared and be on a little bit early, I'll be here to let you in. And then I'd ask that you'd write your full name within your Zoom box every time you get logged in so that people who are still getting to know you will be able to see your name easily and get to know you faster. All right, so those are some of our guidelines there.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay, there we go. We want to add value to each other in this time together. This is about you guys empowering each other as much as it's about me giving you the information. So some of the ways that you're going to be doing that is by contributing to the conversation. Now, if you tend to be an introvert, I understand that, but you're in an influence mastermind. So I'm going to ask that you just step up and start contributing when we go into conversation, masterminding together on the topic. When you're in your group, really give each other feedback and your thought process on it. Now, some of you have taken my other communication class, and we know that different personality types need a little more time to think it through. But I will tell you this. Most people who think they're internal processors, it takes them longer. It's very difficult for people to be faster as an internal processor. And I say that to encourage you to just get it out. So that means this is a no judgment zone, right? So the first thing that you say, nobody is to judge because you're in a process. We are all in a growth journey. So you may feel differently at the end of this mastermind than you did when you first started. So everybody understands that each other is on a growth process. So speak up, process out loud, contribute to the conversation. That's where a lot of people grow and learn, is when all of you are contributing and talking. So don't hold back, okay? All right. The next one is be encouraging to each other. I love this group. I love being with people who love to grow, and you're all very encouraging. So keep that encouragement going. Help each other out in the group time. There's going to be times when I'm going to put you in a room of 3 or 4, and you're just going to discuss the principle and how you think it would be best applied as a receiver of it, or just your thought process on it, because getting your brain engaged in how you're thinking about implementing the principle is going to help make it stick. My goal as the coach is to make sure when you walk out in 5 weeks, it is these 2 principles we're going to cover in the next 5 weeks are really a part of the way that you think when you're communicating. And so that takes a lot of different components in order to get your brain anchoring into these principles and letting it be a part of your normal conversation. Okay. The next thing, negativity-free zone. There's no judgment. I've already covered that a little bit. And I think we're in a great group of people who already understand that and live by that. Be willing to learn from others and from different perspectives. So some people may see it completely differently, and it's not an either or. It could even be a both and. So be open to just letting your thoughts and your process, your perspectives be challenged and encouraged to think outside of the box that you find yourself in, because we all are in some sort of silo or box, and awareness helps us to get out of it. And when you listen to other people, it enlightens your awareness. All right, lastly, we're going to save the date, right? So we've got a practice lab. I've already secured a location. So this is going to be on September 9th. I think I put that in the email, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And this one is going to be in person. We're just going to run all kinds of scenarios with these principles and maybe some of the small bigs that I did in the webinar, so that you can really have a lot of practice implementing this in some of your conversations. And it's going to be at C4 Church. For those of you who don't know where it is, it's right above CPK and Kahala Mall. And as you walk in the door, you're going to turn left and keep on going, and you'll hear us. We'll be kind of loud, I'm sure. All right, I'm going to stop share. And I do want to talk about a couple of things. First, the accountability partner. Now, we've had this back in, a couple of masterminds ago, maybe in 2022. I don't know. So some of you are familiar with it, but I'm doing it a little differently. As you can see, I've already introduced you to your accountability partner. Now, of course, it's completely up to you, but I'm asking that you work consistently with your pre-assigned partner on improving your influence skills. Now, each group is going to find out what works for them, right? I'm not dictating what that looks like. What I am asking is that you will be helping to make sure you're communicating with each other about when you've tried to apply it, sink or swim. I mean, be honest with your groups, your partner. Say, I tried it this way and I totally bombed. And that's something you can maybe laugh about and talk about. We're all going to make mistakes along the way. That's part of the process, right? So make sure you're checking in with each other regularly. If you want to get on a one-on-one call throughout the week and just kind of practice with each other, or share in person what's going on, then that's fine too. Whatever works for you. Okay. I know we're all very busy. There's no mandate on what that looks like. It's just be there for each other. That's what's going to make this amazing. Now, if you're finding that the partnership's getting a little bit wonky, I'd like you to come and talk to me about that, and we'll try to see if we can make some different arrangements. Sometimes it's just people's schedules don't match up. So we'll see what we can do about that. But I want you to spur each other on to keep going. You're saying, you can do it today. Let's just try to practice today, just on a text real quick. That's all that's about. Okay. And check in with your partner. Okay, I've already kind of covered all that. Okay. Now, making this a key element in working with your partner in unity and consistency is going to help you both grow and progress. So we all know that we get out of it what we put into it, right? And so this is going to be one of the key elements for that. And real quick, I want to let me address the worksheets and videos. Thanks to Robert, my community C person who caught it. I told him that's what I love about him. He just catches these things and helps me out. There is the worksheet that you have. It's like a section of a very long worksheet. And then you'll see a little message in there about access your portal. You also saw some videos. So let me explain this to you. They're actually a part of a digital program by Dr. Cialdini, where he covers all 7 principles. And it's a digital course so that you can be a certified practitioner of the principles. So I took segments of the video for tonight's lesson and the worksheet by permission as well. I got permission to do that so that we could serve you well during this mastermind, especially for tonight on the on the topic of ethics. So just know that when it says go to the portal, that's pertaining to the full digital course. You can just skip on by it, right? And for those of you who are interested on wanting to learn as you go through the 5 weeks, you would like to learn how to become a practitioner of it, we can discuss that at the end of the 7 weeks, okay? But just don't get thrown off by it. Thank you also for your grace about the link to the influence book. It was actually the persuasion book. So I thank you so much for your grace. He's not here tonight, but he had a family emergency, but I do want to do a shout out and thank you to Val, who edited the video. There's a lot of little videos and he put it all together to make it easier for all of you and just watch it one time. So I just really thank him for that. We're doing really good on time. And we're going to move right along, and we're about to go into a breakout room. Before we do that, I wanted Daryl to kind of do a really quick testimony because he and I had a one-on-one coaching session not too long ago and worked on a script with one of the principals that was in the webinar that you all reviewed, as well as other things we put into his delivery that had to do with human psychology. And I just wanted him to share that really quick. Daryl?
Hi, everyone. I'm Daryl. So real quick, my testimony. I had to do a parent meeting for volleyball at Mid-Pacific. I just joined their volleyball program, and I had my coaching session with Layla, and there's some stuff that we wanted to discuss and go over. It was language that I normally wouldn't use at all, but the outcome that came from it, like I was uncomfortable with these words. Like they're not my words. I wouldn't use them. Like real quick, but elephant in the room. I'm like, what is this? That's not my language. But when I did it produced a different outcome than what I expected. The engagement from the parents afterwards, they were asking questions. They're like, it felt freer after, and it felt like they actually truly decided to partner with me in supporting their daughters in the program. So it was huge. Normally, and I did an experiment in a way. So I did that, and I had a parent meeting the next day with my boys team. I coach boys volleyball club, and I didn't use some of the language there, and it was like not as engaging with them. So I was like, whoa, this stuff does work. Okay, let me try to figure out how to incorporate. And then as I was talking to you guys, I kind of tried it a little bit there. The real quick, the but, the, that kind of stuff.
I saw how you just did the weakness, but, and the outcome just now in that little, yeah. Good practice. Okay. So I want you guys to know as we go into breakout rooms, you're about to go into a breakout room, and I'm going to put you with your accountability partner, except for the two that I've already spoken to, because you have two people that are away. They're on a trip. So what I want you guys to understand is that what we're dealing with is the way the brain works. So we don't know, but there's constantly resistances going up. It's either our belief system or it's whatever. And we just have these resistances. And the way that something is said, it is an intuitiveness to whether or not somebody feels a good vibe from you, if I could put it that way. But it's also things that just kind of like trigger words for them that kind of put barriers up. And all we want to do is get past that first barrier and get them to lean in for a few more minutes. And then you're going to pepper this along the way as you get better and better at it, because then you put in another little, technique that has a human psychology component to it. And it's bringing down that barrier is what it's doing. So then they're not resistant to what it is you're saying. Now they're free to choose. My favorite thing to say, they're free to choose, honestly. And we want them to have that freedom, right? But it's the resistance that they don't even know is there. You don't even know it's there. And then that comes down and they're leaning in for a few more minutes. And you just keep implementing these little things to help them feel more comfortable walking in this. That's why the integrity thing is so important, because there is a lot of marketing out there using these principles. Dr. Cialdini has been working with Fortune 500 companies for decades. And so there's a lot of marketing techniques out there using these principles and not necessarily with integrity. So part of the excitement about what he's doing right now is making this accessible to the average person, not a big corporation, but he also wants to make sure we do it with the foundation of ethics. And so that's the exciting thing upon it. We're going to go into that a little bit later in the evening. But what I'm going to do is I am going to add this cheat sheet. Now, I don't know if any of you got this. You're welcome to download it right now. You're going to need this when you go into your breakout room. All right. The other thing is we are going to, I have to do a cut and paste. So when we go into the breakout room, you're going to take your 4 scenarios. I gave you I'm multitasking, guys. Okay. So that means I'm going to be stammering. Let me just finish this. Let me just finish this. Okay. There we go. All right. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your 4 scenarios that I had encouraged you to come up with into the room. And you're going to do 2 of the principles or 2 of the small bigs that I have on that cheat sheet. And the first one is from the principle of authority, which we are not covering in this worksheet, but it was in the webinar. And that's where you're going to say, your weakness first, just like what Daryl just did, the word but to bridge it into the strength. Okay. The second option is going to be from the principle of scarcity. So you're going to figure out, you're going to think of ways of how you would implement something they're going to lose out on. So Debbie, I love what you're doing. You could just say, I would hate for you to lose out on the great results you're going to have. And you can start listing the things that are going to start happening to their body, that's relative to where they're needing better health. And that would be a way to use it in a product or a service, or maybe you're thinking about how you can get your adult child to make a decision to move forward, or your team. So pick one of those 2 that I just gave you as an option, apply it to one of the 4 scenarios you have, and you're going to help each other with this. Now, if you have time, because I'm going to give you quite some time, if you have some time, you can try both, but just pick one to make sure everybody had a chance to go. Now, the role playing is going to go like this, and I just put it in the chat. Take a picture of it, because I hear that when you go into breakout room now, they've changed the update, I think, where you don't see it. So you're going to deliver to your partner the small big technique in the scenario you're choosing. So it's as if you're actually talking to the client or your team member or whoever. The partner, I want you to listen very closely and then share positive, encouraging things, but also helpful feedback. That means be honest. Be honest with that, positivity, because that's going to help them improve, right? How might they say it differently? Where should they put it? That kind of thing as you're listening to them. The other thing I want the partner to give as feedback is, how does it affect you mentally? And even, I should have put, emotionally. How are you experiencing that? I want you to tell them, I'm kind of feeling a little resistant. I'm kind of questioning, or I'm actually leaning in and want to hear the next thing. So give them that kind of feedback as well. How is it affecting you in, as you're thinking it through, and how you're feeling emotionally? Do I have any questions about this role play? What, Renee? Unmute. Do you have a question?
Can you repeat that whole
Yes,
thing? I'm
yes.
confused.
So get the influence cheat sheet that I just posted. It's got the 4 bigs as a way to look at it fast. So you're going to download that on your computer. Then you're going to use one of the 2. Share a weakness, the word but, and a strength is the one you can choose from, or the scarcity. I would hate for you to lose out on this. I would hate for you to lose out on this, house that's on the market right now. It's not going to stay long. That type of thing. You can choose one of those 2 that you want to practice with, and you're going to apply it to one of the scenarios you've been wanting to work on.
Sorry, I have the same question in Renee and our partner, so we're both. Which is the principle of liking and the principle of scarcity? Can you repeat which 2 principles?
Yeah, so it's going to be, what do I have there on the cheat sheet? Maybe I'm looking at something different. Am I missing something here? Okay. It is the principle of, okay, I get it. Okay, so it's the last 2. Thank you. That's actually better. The last 2, the principle of scarcity. I would hate for you to lose out on these benefits. That would have been better if I did it in the order. Sorry. I would hate for you to lose out on these benefits. So that's one you can choose from. Or the second one is the principle of authority. So you mention a weakness in your case first, and then say the word but, and then mention the strength. Okay, so it's either number 3 or number 4. Does that help? Okay, and you're going to apply it to your scenario. Thank you for asking the question to get clarification. Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to give you 7 or 8 minutes, depending on how it goes. If you have enough time, try to do the second one. And I'm going to open all rooms. Carol, just wait a second, because you popped back in. I have to redo something. And Renee, she'll be with you in a second. Carol.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I got you. Can you see that, Carol? Okay.
You're on mute. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you came back already. You finished it, that's why. So it's interesting going into all the rooms, like people are at different, processes of this. How was it for you? Well, I'll have you guys share. Actually, don't tell me now, because I'll have you share when they all come back.
It was great practice,
Well,
actually,
good. I'm glad. Yeah.
to see the material and then practice.
Yeah. Well, do you guys feel like you came prepared for tonight's meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That makes a big difference.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're muted, he told me.
Mary Lou was so natural that I didn't even realize she was going into. I thought she was just talking story with me. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, she just used that principle on me. Oh my, I said, that's so good, Mary Lou.
You want to share that, okay? When we do a share time right now, okay? So, so I have a really quick question for those of you who have watched the webinar, specifically at the 16-minute marker. How many of you have actually tried to start implementing it in some of your conversations before even tonight? Okay, great. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so how's it go? First, I want to hear how it's going for you to be applying those principles in your other scenarios other than tonight. Anybody want to share? Let's see. Tom raised his hand. Daryl raised his. Well, Daryl already shared his testimony. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that it feels better to use some of these techniques, if you will. It feels like it, as people I'm engaged with, that they're responding differently than before. I was just telling Robert that, my tendency is to give a lot of information. And we were kind of making the joke that we were both the same in that way, where we feel like we just want to give all the information at one time. And so these techniques, I think, are going to help me kind of focus me better and say more with less, as my wife would like to say. You can say so much more with less. That's
That's so funny. That's so funny. But to your point, I mean, I can find myself doing the same, because you feel like it's going to keep helping them understand, or, and I find myself doing the same thing, Tom, in certain circumstances. But I do know that the brain can manage 3 points. 3 points, right? I know this, and I still go on to point number 7 and 8, okay, at times. So, but the brain can manage 3 points. So if we keep it to 3 points, it's better, right? So I have to put a lot of mental energy into that as well. So I think we're all in that process. Okay, so thank you for sharing, Tom. And I'd love to hear how your time went in your breakout room. This is all part of your brain wrapping around what we're doing and processing it for yourself out loud. Who'd like to share how it went for you? Share even the hard stuff. If it was hard, whatever it is. Yeah, he told me. And you can use your raise hand emoji if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's really good to try to practice it, and just because you don't know how, and get feedback, because you're not sure like how people are receiving it or taking it. So that was really helpful to practice it with Mary Lou. And I just want to say, Mary Lou just went right into it, and I thought she was just talking story with me, and I didn't even realize she was doing the principle afterwards. So I told her that was like just so natural. I thought you were just talking story with me, but it does work. Like I immediately, she shared kind of a weakness and then her strength. But I think I immediately felt like just that connected and kind of, pressing in and listening in. And I think when you even in a few minutes, you can build that rapport and begin to develop trust. So I could see how that could really help in building relationships and communication in companies. So good job, Mary Lou.
Good job, Mary Lou. Oh, she's talking to somebody. All right. Who else is going to share? Yeah, Signe.
Okay, so Sean was my partner, and so I was sharing about how I'm trying to figure out how I would introduce giving donations to a drug rehab or nonprofit organization. So so he helped me identify it's probably the principle of authority, because the cost, asking for a donation for a fundraiser would help us decrease the amount of addicted people, right? So it's like he helped me understand that the cost of not doing it is decreasing it. The barrier of not doing it means that you have more people that are addicted. So we're helping decrease the addicted people, and they're going on to become more productive as citizens, right? But it's the systemic approach to the but. What are we doing with what the donations? We're decreasing the amount of addicted. So that was so like, wow, that is so simple. Sean was marvelous. I really appreciated that. He helped me. Now I can go and send the letter out for more donations. Anyway.
Yeah. And you just said something I want to kind of like chime in on a little bit, because you said it was so simple. And that's what you're going to find. It's really simple. What we're talking about here in 5 weeks, it's actually quite simple. And sometimes you're like, wait, I've done that before. But we're not intentional. And so the 5 weeks is about becoming very intentional about understanding where we can apply it and how to elevate the effectiveness of it, right? And so it is very simple. It's just about repetitiveness, process, get yourself in. It's going to be part of your everyday conversation. Like Mary Lou, seamless.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Sean.
So who's going to be, who wants to share next? How was the experience? Was it challenging? Did you feel like you got an answer on some things? You'll find, for those of you who don't know me yet, I am comfortable with being quiet until somebody speaks. So you'll just have to deal with the uncomfortableness of silence. Yes, Debbie, thank you.
I'm going to share. Nam is phenomenal. She's right. She can sell milk to a cow. But just changing the words, right? To the principle of authority, using that but. It just shifted how I thought about a lot of things when I talk to my clients or my prospects. And the energy just shifts into something that is a lot more concise and clear. And I appreciate that part. I really do. And Nam is a great coach too.
Good. I'm glad it was a good experience and you got all of that out of there. Sean, and somebody else want to share? You can just raise your hand. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, sorry, trying to take the hand down. Okay, so yeah, that was really a great getting to meet Signy for the first time, and actually, being able to talk in the language. I think he told me to mention it. Just created a quick comfortability with talking with her, right? And so for me, and like I told her, right, I didn't write down any of my thing. I always keep it in my head, and then I got to write it down after. But having her give back some feedback that was helpful based on some experience through her husband, her partner, or whatever it was, helped me to be able to just flip a little a statement or a direction where I was going. So it was really cool to be able to just partner with her and get to that information today. So yeah, it's really good. Thank you. Appreciate it, Signy.
Thank you. Okay, a couple more. Let me get 2 more. Who else would like to share? Share whatever comes to you. I know I got some very talkative people on this group that have not said anything yet. All right, come on. I'm going to call names. All right, Carol.
I knew you were going to call me. All right, I'm
No, I
ready.
could see you getting ready to unmute because you knew you were coming up.
Okay, Renee and I are being real. It was really hard. And maybe because we're both like to talk a lot, so it's getting a lot of information. I think in using the words, it was hard. It was really hard. And you gave an example, which was really great. When I tried to replicate the example, it was really hard. So just getting it down where I think, I don't know, Renee, both of us maybe are the kind of people that just kind of shoot from the cuff and just go. But to be more methodical about it is really outside of my comfort zone. And I'm guessing Renee's too, because we are very similar in a lot of ways. So just being real, it was really hard to do that because it's totally out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's an interesting share because both of you are strong eyes, and so the structure can be challenging for an eye in terms of like thinking through the structure of your delivery, your language patterns. So that's really interesting. And so keep that in mind for those of you who are also eyes. I know there's a couple of you in here. So thank you for sharing that. And it's going to get better. Hey, listen, so there's a couple of people that are traveling right now, and I'm going to jump on. If you have to travel, or anything like that, I want to make sure that you get the ability to learn these techniques. So I'm going to jump on a Zoom sometime, hopefully this weekend. They're going to let me know what time, maybe on Saturday for 30 minutes. And we're going to do this exercise exactly. So if you're struggling and you want to practice one more time, put it in the chat and I'll make sure I add you to the group text so that we can make sure that you get on there and practice one more time. I want to make sure when you come out in the 5 weeks, you're going to feel like you got this. You got this. All right. One more person. Laura, I see your finger on the button. Just click it. You're waiting. You're trying to be polite. I can see you. I know that move.
Quentin already, man. Like, dang, it was difficult. So thank you, Carol, for opening it up. It was difficult. I have a good partner, Heidi. She's great. We went over one of the most difficult things of presenting treatment plans, which is expensive, and patients are worth it, but they don't realize that. But she did help me along with the benefits. What would happen if you didn't do it? She helped me along with that. I appreciate that, but it was difficult, and both of us are struggling. We're busy too. So
yes,
as far as
right.
the exercise, we said, okay, we gotta kind of figure out what you wanted from us. So,
Yeah.
But anyway,
Thanks for sharing. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing. Okay. All right. Let's go into our conversation. We're going to end this evening with our conversation about ethics. And so I want to kind of just open the conversation with a question really pertaining to the first part of the video. And so just a real easy way to edge ourselves in here. I mean, I just want to know if people have experienced exaggeration when somebody was selling a product or a service, or maybe trying to influence you to go a certain direction, and they were kind of like exaggerating at some degree. So some of you are nodding your heads. So I just kind of want you to start chiming in and processing. How did it feel to be on the receiving end of realizing this, this person is exaggerating? Maybe you found out after the fact that it wasn't exactly what they said it was going to be. How did that feel for you? And how often do you think in general that happens when people are interacting with each other in general? How did it feel on the receiving end, and how often do you think that happens? I'm going to ask some of the people who haven't spoken yet to just jump in there and talk. You know who you are. We're adding value to each other by chiming in. Heidi.
Hi. So I think when I recognize that there's an exaggeration factor there, I think at first it's just very disappointing because, one of the things that Laura and I were talking about is it's authenticity, right? And when you're talking about connection and communication, so it just doesn't feel very authentic. And I really don't want to engage with that person at that point.
Yeah. So it's important.
I think it happens probably a lot more than we think.
And say more about that, more often than we think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I think it just depends on the situation, right? So if we're talking about a pitch, that's one thing. But I think when people when people have their own experiences, they're bringing their own emotions, they're bringing certain things to the table when they're talking about it. And so I work with seniors, which I love, but I see this a lot. It starts off as this really small, simple story. And then people go, oh, really? And then it's like, oh, yeah. And then it gets to be bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And then pretty soon it's like this really huge issue that we now have to resolve. And so I just think, it's the momentum that people bring into the conversation. And I'm not talking again about sales pitches. I'm just talking about interaction in general.
Yeah, good. Anybody want to chime in on that or have your own thoughts about that question? Yes, Nam.
Okay, sorry, I had to figure out how to unmute. Well, I tend to recognize now when I'm being, I just call it getting played. That's basically what it is. But so one of my, I know I don't want to even say who he is, but he would try to sell me like a person. So my normal thing is like, I gotta understand who the person is. You know, I do red light therapy, and if they're gonna represent my product and my business, I want to make sure that they're good people, you know, and not just like any old Joe Schmo. But this person would be like, oh, this guy's so he knows all these people, and he like 13,000 whatever 100,000 followers, and if you take care of him, then you know all this. And you know, at one point I would have fell for that. I really would have, and I have in the past, because they're promising so much, you know, and never came, not even one time. So this most recently happened, I would say like 2 months ago. And I just remember I just pivoted. I was like, well, that's really great. I'd love to, you know, connect, talk to him and see if there's any synergies or if there's any ways that we can work together. And that was it. No promises, nothing. And then when I met the person, I was like, oh, heck no, I don't want this guy talking about my business. You know, so just, and it ended up being like a really kind of shady person, right? So then I was like, dude, why would you introduce me to somebody you don't even know? So I did address it afterwards, but
Okay.
it just makes me feel like, yeah, taken advantage of.
And you're bringing up a really good point, which is going to go into my next discussion question. So I'm looking at Daryl, Stephen, Robert, Renee, Mary Lou. He told me, all of you who haven't yet contributed, you're welcome to do that as I move into the next thing, but you make it a very good point. So do you think well, in your case, actually, he turned out to be shady, but let's just say it's a truth and it's exaggerated. Do you think that's ethical or unethical?
Oh, unethical.
Okay, you're going to mute yourself.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So the names I just called out, if it's a truth, but it's exaggerated, what do you think? Come on.
Unethical.
Who's Renee? Good. Thank you. Okay. And I see Stephen unmuting. Don't mute yet, because why do you think it's unethical?
If it's exaggerated, why is it unethical?
And it's a truth.
It's a truth, but it's exaggerated, right?
Yes.
I mean, just any form of exaggeration is unethical, right? Just making it bigger than it is. I don't have words for it. I just know that's unethical, and it feels unethical. And when someone's doing it and you're on the receiving end, you're just, you know, it's a question of integrity and character.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I just have no patience for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tom, thank you for letting us know. He just let me know. Sorry. Well, now everybody knows. He's gonna have to jump on her. I'm sorry. I thought it was for everybody. So Stephen, is it easy to do? Is it easy to exaggerate?
That is not the question I wanted to answer.
Okay.
But as far as easy to do, no, because I guess my response would be it depends. Because I guess the way I think about it is there's the professional setting. When I have that hat on, then yeah, integrity is something that you know, that I hold to with a high standard. But when I'm out with friends and then we're just talking about stuff, and I mean, and I do recognize that you have influence no matter where you are. It doesn't have to be in a professional setting.
Mm-hmm.
But when, and I see it because I do it, and that's my eye that comes out probably about 100% of the time.
You're talking about your eye
Um,
doing the exaggeration. What do you mean?
yeah, and just my personality. So it may be a truth, but to me, it adds flavor and spice to the story. So it's not that I'm lying. Um, it's the whole, was the fish really this big? I was like, maybe it was about this big, but it wasn't this big. So, I mean, it's not what is it, a whale tail? It's not one of those, but you know, it's one of those, like at the end of the conversation, you're in the car and you get the jab from my wife that's like, you were exaggerating. I'm like, but everybody loved it, and I wasn't killing anybody. So I mean, that's why I say it depends. It's like,
Yeah.
is somebody's life going to be, is somebody going to be harmed by it? And if it's just a story and just get people excited, then I don't see it as a huge issue. But I can see how if I didn't have boundaries for myself, that it could then creep in and compromise other parts of my life.
Yeah. And you made a really good point. I like what you just said there. Everybody's making great points, which is that sometimes a personality type is going to lend itself towards exaggeration, and they don't even know they're doing it. Right. So there's this gray space where you kind of love somebody, like, his wife Lauren loves Steve, and she's like, knows how he is, and he's going to say the fish was this big and keep him in check, but that's part of who he is. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying, keeping in mind, if it's a relationship you can help keep in check, or just understand that's how they are. So I'm going to change the question, because we're narrowing down to our last 10 minutes. So Robert, Daryl, he told me, Mary Lou, I'd love for you guys to jump in on this. But basically, I want to know if you guys were surprised at the data supporting the 3 tumor effects of companies being unethical, right? Which was, or maybe you weren't surprised. Were you surprised or not surprised? Which is they're going to have poor employee performance, higher turnover, and employee fraud will start to happen within the company. Were you surprised or not surprised by data backing that up?
I'll jump in there. Not
Okay.
surprised.
Okay. Why?
Why?
Why or why? Yeah. Why or why not?
It's just when you have that kind of ethics and type of moral compass, people can tend to be more for themselves and versus for others, kind of thing. So yeah. And then with that, then your performance dips. You don't like the people you work with, people leave, and it just turns into poison, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the data is very clear. It doesn't work for us to be unethical. Anybody else want to chime in on that? Were you surprised by the fact that there is actual data to support that? Mary Lou?
No, not at all. I just feel like most people would be embarrassed or ashamed to, work for a company like that, and be associated with that kind of behavior. So yeah, I'm not surprised.
Okay. But even in a company that might be ethical, do you see people operating in maybe a less than ethical way?
Very true. That's what I wanted, that my angle that I wanted to come in. I mean, after COVID, people were just hopping on one job to another, or even in restaurants had lack of people because they wanted to just stay home. So personally, I had the hardest time trying to get a dental assistant. They would stay for a little while, leave, and it's such an investment to train. The employee turnover, as much as we try to work on team building, you lose that momentum because they drop. So even though we try to be ethical, it was just the situation, the season, what happened during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. And that affects company culture as well, right? And how do we navigate that when we have somebody within the company that might be unethically, executing? How would you handle that?
I would say go through HR, sit them down, do the part where this is what we see, do better, and reevaluate. If you're not, then off you go. Or zero tolerance if it's that major.
How about you, Stephen? You unmuted for a sec.
Yeah, it very similar. I would try and as soon as it comes to the attention, got to take care of it as soon as possible. And if it is I guess a fireable offense, you got to take care of it, because I think especially leaders, they don't think that others will see it. But if you don't take any action, no action actually sends another message too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so as we wrap up, I wanted to make sure that we started with this ethical topic. Next week, we're going to start with the principle of reciprocity. Just make sure that when you're reading the chapter that you kind of get the principle of it and get some of the data in or the research in, so that you know how that it's been used, and think about ways that you can be applying that. All right. Stay in accountability with each other as your accountability partner. And in your worksheet, you have an ethical checklist. And that's what I love about the Cialdini Institute, is they have an ethical checklist, right? I think every company should have an ethical checklist, right? Tom, if you have to go, please don't feel just be prepared for next week, okay? But thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on Tuesday. And if anybody wants to jump in on Saturday when we practice, please let me know. You can text me personally, and then I'll make sure that you're in that group text. So we have that ethical checklist that you can take a look at in your worksheet. Like I said, read chapter 2. It's in your email. And if you have any questions, guys, I'm here to answer your questions. I may not be able to answer right away, but I am happy. Thank you, Laura. I don't know yet, because I have to find out from the person who's still traveling based on the time zone, but I will shoot it out to you guys in terms of when that will be. Do you want to be on that group list? Laura, do you want to be on that chat, that text list? Yes. Okay. All right, great. So, so just start thinking about ways, as you're reading the principle of reciprocity, think about ways that you might be able to implement that into some of the things that you are interacting with and conversing on. We will have great group brainstorming sessions in little pods, not just 2s, but maybe even 3s, so that you can process this principle. And we may even practice the other small bigs. So be prepared. Come with your 4 scenarios, and you have your cheat sheet on the small bigs. I'm going to stay on for anybody who might have some questions. This is our first week. It's really more of an introduction and guideline, but I also want to make sure moving forward, everybody is clear, so that we can just keep running for the next 4 weeks. So if you need to go, you're welcome to, but I'm staying on specifically to answer questions and make sure everybody's clear on all the bits of information. All right. Thank you. For those of you who have to go, bye. Thank you.
I have a question, Leila.
Yes, Signy.
So I don't have the book. I ordered it, but it's not here yet.
Okay.
So what do I do for the reading?
Yep. So one of the things that people are doing is that they have a free Kindle, so they can get the book audio on Kindle for free. So if you have that with Amazon, you can do that. I do have a copy. I'm happy to lend it to an individual that needs one. We can just rendezvous somehow soon so that I can make that happen for you. I do have one copy.
I'll do the Kindle. I'll do the Kindle.
Okay.
I didn't even think about that.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Leila.
Sure, sure. Anybody else have a question?
Hey, Leila, I
Yes.
just switched from Wednesday night to tonight.
Yes.
Can I get the email about the link to sign in for tonight and the